Imagine, if you will, a year when the sun gave no light, a year that plunged the world into an unending night. Welcome to the year 536 AD. The year 536 AD is a time shrouded in mystery and darkness, a year that saw the sun disappear from the sky. This was not a solar eclipse, nor was it a mere play of the clouds. The sun, our beacon of light and life, seemed to have dimmed its shine, casting the earth into a shadowy existence that lasted not for a day, not for a week, but for an entire year. Historical texts of the time paint a somber picture. The sun, they say, was reduced to a feeble glow, barely brighter than the moon. Byzantine historian Procopius wrote, "For the sun gave forth its light without brightness, and it seemed exceedingly like the sun in eclipse, for the beams it shed were not clear." Imagine the world then, a world without the comforting warmth of the sun, a world where crops failed, and the chill of an unending winter seeped into every corner. The people must have looked up at the pale disk in the sky, once their source of light and life, now a distant cold orb, and wondered what they had done to earn the ire of the heavens. And while we can only guess what caused this phenomenon, the effects were all too real. This was a year marked by crop failures and famine, a year where the specter of death loomed large over humanity. Was it a volcanic eruption that caused this, spewing ash and dust into the atmosphere and obscuring the sun? Or was it something else, something even more terrifying? If people thought this was the worst that could happen, they were sorely mistaken. For the year 536 was just the beginning. The world as people knew it was about to change drastically. The sun's disappearance was a harbinger of things to come, a prelude to a series of catastrophes that would grip the world for years to come. The darkness was not a cosmic anomaly, but the result of an earth-shattering volcanic eruption. This volcanic eruption was not just any eruption, but one of such magnitude that it would alter the course of history. A colossal volcano in Iceland had awoken from its slumber, spewing tons of ash and sulfur into the atmosphere. The fury of this volcanic titan was not to be underestimated. Imagine an explosion so powerful that it sent a plume of ash miles high into the atmosphere, a dark cloud that would soon blanket the entire globe. This was not a local event, it was a global catastrophe. But how do we know this? What tangible evidence do we have to support this claim? The answer lies in the meticulous study of ice core samples and tree rings, two of the most reliable natural record keepers of our planet's climatic past. Ice core samples, extracted from the frozen depths of Greenland and Antarctica, serve as a timeline, capturing atmospheric conditions of bygone eras. These ice cores from the mid-6th century bear a distinct layer of sulfur and ash, a silent testimony to the Icelandic volcano's wrath. Similarly, tree rings offer another piece of this historical puzzle. Trees grow a new ring each year, and the size of each ring reflects that year's weather conditions. Rings from trees alive in 536 AD are notably thinner, indicating a year of poor growth due to lack of sunlight and colder temperatures. This ash cloud acted like a colossal sunshade, blocking out the sun's rays, plunging the world into a year-long winter. The Earth's temperature plummeted, crops failed. It was a time of darkness, cold, and uncertainty. Thus, it was a single volcanic eruption, hidden away in the icy landscapes of Iceland, that set the stage for 536 AD, the year the sun disappeared. A year that humanity would not forget. A year that would go down in history as a testament to the Earth's volatile nature. The eruption had set off a catastrophic chain of events. With no sunlight, crops failed, and a devastating famine swept across the land. As the sun retreated behind a veil of volcanic ash, the Earth's once bountiful fields turned barren and lifeless. The lack of sunlight denied crops the photosynthesis they needed to grow, leading to widespread crop failures. In Europe, the breadbasket of the continent faltered. Fields of wheat, barley, and rye, usually golden under the summer sun, remained stunted and pale. Harvests were meager, reserves dwindled, and soon the specter of famine loomed large. From the craggy coasts of Scotland to the vineyards of Italy, no corner of Europe was spared. Historical records from this time paint a grim picture of the suffering. Chronicles speak of people forced to eat grass, roots, even the bark of trees to survive. In Asia, the situation was no less dire. In China, a country that has always relied heavily on its rice harvest, the impact was catastrophic. Chroniclers of the Liang dynasty wrote of a yellow fog that loomed over the eastern sea and made the sun appear green. The rice paddies, usually lush and green, failed. The people went hungry and the once bustling markets fell eerily quiet. The famine was indiscriminate, affecting both the rich and the poor. It brought societies to their knees and exposed the fragility of civilizations dependent on the whims of nature. It was a time of desperation, of people turning against each other for a mouthful of food, of social order breaking down under the weight of hunger. The famine was not only a crisis of food but also of faith. Many wondered why their gods had abandoned them, why the sun refused to shine. It was a time of questioning, of doubt, and of fear. The world was in the grip of a crisis that seemed to have no end. As if darkness and famine were not enough, a deadly plague followed. An ominous specter of death began to haunt the Byzantine Empire and beyond, a horror that we now know as the Justinian Plague. In the midst of these catastrophic climatic changes, the Justinian Plague broke out around the year 536. Some historians theorize that the climatic upheavals may have created conditions ripe for disease, further compounding the misery of the people. Named after the Byzantine Emperor Justinian I, this plague was not a mere footnote in the annals of history. It was a pandemic that swept across vast swaths of land, leaving a chilling trail of death and despair in its wake. The bacterium Yersinia pestis, the same culprit behind the infamous Black Death centuries later, was the cause of this devastation. The Justinian plague was no respecter of status or wealth. It infiltrated the grand palaces of emperors as easily as it did the humble homes of peasants. Even Emperor Justinian himself fell ill, although he was one of the fortunate ones who managed to survive. The plague left the Byzantine Empire, once a beacon of prosperity and power, on the brink of ruin. The death toll was staggering. At its peak, it's estimated that up to 5,000 people were dying each day in Constantinople, the empire's capital. The empire's manpower was decimated, its economy crippled. But the plague's reach extended far beyond the borders of the Byzantine Empire. It spread westward to the farthest reaches of the known world, leaving no corner untouched. The Mediterranean, Europe, Asia, and Africa all bore the brunt of this deadly disease. This was a time of darkness, famine, and plague. Humanity was pushed to the brink, tested by nature and disease like never before. The world was a battleground and the enemy was invisible, relentless, and terrifying. The world was under siege from all sides: darkness, famine, and disease. In the face of such adversity, one can't help but marvel at the resilience of our ancestors, their will to survive, and their ability to endure. With the world ravaged by darkness, famine, and disease, humanity was left in a state of despair. The year 536 AD marked a turning point in human history, one that would change the course of civilization forever. The world was a harsh, unforgiving place. The volcanic eruption had plunged the world into darkness, crops failed, leading to an unprecedented famine, and the deadly Justinian plague was on a rampage, decimating populations. This convergence of disasters led to a significant drop in global population. The Byzantine Empire, once a shining beacon of prosperity and power, was left on the brink of ruin. The world had entered what we now know as the Dark Ages. But in the face of such adversity, humanity did not give up. Our ancestors showed remarkable resilience. They weathered the storm, adapted, and endured. Their will to survive was stronger than any disaster. They found ways to navigate the darkness, manage the famine, and combat the disease. Their stories of survival are a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. Their resilience in the face of adversity laid the foundation for the world we live in today. This period of darkness, however, was also a period of transformation, of rebirth. It was during these challenging times that our ancestors laid the groundwork for the advancements that would follow, shaping the course of human history. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the past, into a time of darkness, famine, and plague. A time that tested the mettle of humanity, and against all odds, humanity persevered. As we reflect on the year 536 AD, we must remember the resilience and determination of our forebears. Despite the darkness, famine, and plague, they persevered, paving the way for a new era of growth and innovation. Their tales of survival continue to inspire us and remind us of our inherent strength and ability to adapt. They taught us that even in the face of the most formidable challenges, humanity can and will endure. We are, after all, the descendants of survivors. Their legacy is our legacy, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity. It's a story that continues to unfold as we face our own challenges and strive to build a better world. As we close this chapter of our journey into the past, let's carry forward the lessons of resilience, adaptability, and survival. This is the legacy of 536 AD, a legacy of endurance, of resilience, and of hope. Until next time, stay safe and be kind. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like our video. Remember, history is a guide to navigate the present and shape the future. Let's learn from it together.